Alright, yeah, working on the old F100 again. The grill is all complete and sitting there. That's I can just bolt right up. And I have the inner fender here. I got that all scraped down. That's all ready to paint up. There is some a couple tiny little spots I want to weld up that rotted out. But other than that, that's in real good shape. But what I was doing today is I was working on this stone guard. Maybe I get a better picture of it down this end. The green thing here. I was going to fix the stone guard, and I spent about 4 hours here messing with it, trying to get it to fit and see what I would have to do with it and stuff like that. And I pretty much figured out I might as well just buy another one. It's just so much work that has to be done. When they put these patches in back here, I don't know if you can see them. I'll show you once I take this off and show you. You got a patch here, and then another patch here, and another patch here. And when they put them patches in, they must have did all this work when it wasn't attached to the car. And I understand that, you know, because it's a lot easier. But when they did do all that welding, it sort of warped and twisted it and distorted it to a point where, let me see if I can get around this way. Tight space here. I'm in a tight space. Okay. To a point where they had to elongate these holes for these to line up. I don't know if you can see there, but there's threaded holes there. And that one there is pretty close. But these other ones are far away. And what happened was it just distorted so much that you can't even line the holes up there. So what I did was they didn't have this bolt hole in there, and they didn't have this bolt hole in, and this one here. What they did is they put a little plate on the bottom here just to hold this up. So what I did is I drilled them holes and then tried to tighten it down the best I could, but I got to a point where the more I tightened, I don't know if you can see it here, the more the front of this thing here bellied down. So like I said, I mean, I could fix it. I could cut reliefs in there and then re-weld it, and I mean, there's just so much work that has to be done to this. I think I'm just going to decide to buy another one, you know. And it's a shame because I probably would have enjoyed doing the work on it and getting it looking good and everything, but I just got so much work to do on this thing, you know. I'm up to my colon in work here. So let me stand it up and show you what it should look like. Yeah, before I prop it up, I wanted to mention something here. See where this is made? I don't know if you can focus in on that. Here we go. Made in Taiwan. And I'm pretty impressed with the way this radiator, it radiates heat. Anyway, this radiator support here, I'm impressed with the way it's built. You know, it's sturdy, it's made out of nice thick metal, and all the holes are pretty much where they're supposed to be. And Taiwan is pretty much like Japan now, you know. I mean, they're putting out some good stuff. It's not like China, you know, so I'm very impressed with it. So that's why I figure, hopefully if I get the piece down here, we call it a stone deflector. If I get one of them, maybe it'll be made in Taiwan and it'll fit perfect too. Because usually aftermarket parts, you know, they fit like crap. You know, you got to make them fit. So, all right, let me stand this thing up. All right, here we have this thing sitting vertical now. I got a clamp here. You know, it's still bowed there, but this clamp is just, you know, it's not even tightened down. It's just sitting here just to keep it from falling over. But anyway, on this one side, you can see it's pretty good. You know, I mean, it's about 1/4 of an inch. I probably could have tightened that up with the bolts. You know, that's why this one here is pretty close. But these here, the further up we go, the worse it gets. See, and right here at the corners, you can actually see it's buckling there, and it's actually even cracking. And I could put a relief cut there, and then re-weld it, and then put all the patches in myself. Same with here, it's actually tearing and buckling right here. So I could have made relief cuts there, and I would have had to redo this whole thing. And like I said, I could have done it. It's just, you know, I could put my efforts into other stuff. You know, this side here is still, Christ, a good half-inch away from where it should be. And you know, I had it cranked down pretty good. The more I was cranking, the bigger the belly was getting, the bigger the bow in the middle was getting, and it just wasn't getting prettier. So that's where we're at. Let me throw the, matter of fact, let me throw the grill on there, and I'll show you how far that belly is out, because the grill actually sits right about here. I'll see what it looks like. Actually, when the grill is in place, it doesn't look all that bad, you know, but I know how bad it really is. And that's just a whole lot of work, just for, like, I said 2 inches, and that's exactly what it is. 2 inches, that's all you're going to see. But I think I spent too much time on it already, you know. And like I say, it would take another 2 days to make that right. So I think I'm going to go in right now and order that part. I'm going to bite the bullet and order that and forget about it. Alright, let's move on to this welding this inner fender. Alright, yeah, it's been a few days since that last little segment I showed you there where I said we're going to weld this. And since then, a little dirt bike came over here and he actually welded it up for me. There was right there. There was you know, it was solid, but it was rotted through because of the way it was situated on the fender. And I told him, I said, don't worry about what it looks like on the bottom here, because you're not going to see that. Matter of fact, you're not even going to see the top. But what he did was he welded this, and I'll show you how he did it. Hold on there. He used this. You know, they call it. I think they call it a spoon. I'm not sure. The welder guys will let me know. But anyway, it's a big slab of copper, and I wanted the other side to be flat, so I wouldn't have a whole lot of grinding to do. And what he did was he put it on there. Matter of fact, if you see it sitting, see how flat it's sitting, and he held it under there, and he sort of stitch welded it. And I like the way it came out. Let me see if I can flip it over here. Alright, bear with me here, bear with me. Yeah, I don't know if you can see how flat that is, but you know, that's pretty good. So I'm going to hit that with a grinder. I only have to hit it real light, and I'll probably put a little seam sealer on there, you know, just to keep it watertight. And then this thing will be ready to paint. So, you know, after looking at it and seeing him weld and stuff like that, I was wondering maybe it would have been just better to cut that out and put a piece in. You know, I didn't realize how thin that was where he was welding. He did a nice job. I mean, it's thicker than the rest of the fender now, but he actually didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. But, you know, that's what happens. You know, you do things you say, oh, I should have done it a little different, but it works, and it's going to be solid. The rest of the inner fender here is solid as can be. And I got the other fender standing up there. I'll take that down and show you what we got to do to that. Yeah, this video is going to do mostly showing you what I did and what I'm going to do and stuff like that. But you know, it'll give you something to watch. And after you finish welding this, we looked at the tank over here. I got my welder here, and it was just about out of gas. Last time I had this tank filled was over 10 years ago, because they actually have dates on them. This one here has a date. It's at April. That'd be 4/19. And then I think this star means it's certified. That star means 10 years, I think. That means it's good till 2029. And I think that plus just means it could be filled maybe 10% over what it's supposed to. So we're good. And I forgot exactly how long I had the other tank, but like I say, it was over 10 years. So I wrote the date on this one. And I put 35. It only cost $35 to have that filled. I think last time I had it filled, it was $13. You know, but everything's relative, right? So got 2,000 pounds in there. Yeah, a lot of guys, you know, they keep using flux and stuff like that, flux core. And if you're gonna have do any kind of welding, it's actually, I think it's better to get a tank. I think I only paid 120 bucks for this tank, and I think they call that a 120 cubic foot. It's about 42 inches high from top to the bottom, and it's 8 inches thick. And I bought it off a dealer. I think he gave me a good deal because he knew I'd be coming back and stuff. But like I say, I only see the guy every 10 years. But if you consider, you know, and you know what I like about this guy? I used to use tanks way back when I did body work for a living. And I had one guy, and he would charge me, like if it was expired, he would charge me, you know, to recertify and stuff like that. This guy don't charge me anything for recertification. So I like that. I just give him 35 bucks cash, and he says you're good to go. So yeah, it's been a good weld for me. It's funny, the spool just ran out about 2 weeks ago, and then the tank ran out just about the same time. You know, this has been a good welder to me. This actually says Craftsman, but it's a Clark 130. I don't think Clark makes these in the United States anymore. I think they don't even sell them in the United States. I think they just sell them overseas. But that's been a good welder to me. So like I was saying, you know, if you guys are, you know, you think it's expensive and stuff, you know, I don't use this a lot, you know, but I use it enough. You know, I'm only a small little garage here, and like I say, I mean, I probably use it more than the average guy in his garage would. So you figure I paid $13 10 years ago. That's like $1.30 a year. But like I say, everything doubled since then. So it's going to cost me maybe $3.50 a year to run this. So it's definitely worth it. You can buy these tanks used, you know, and I think it's well worth it. Gives you a much better weld. But all right, let's get back to business here. I digress. All right, yeah, let's take a look at this fender here. Hey, you know what? Let me get a magic marker before I do that. Stay there, don't go away. All right, this fender is actually in pretty good shape. The only thing wrong with it is the guy that had this truck customized it, and he was a good body man. And you know, he lowered it and did away with a lot of stuff on it and flared it in. So he put a lot of plastic on here to shape it, and you know, maybe give it a little more accentuated, well, I don't know which one, accentuated fenders or something, you know, to make them look a little bigger or bolder or whatever. But anyway, he put a lot of plastic on this thing and sculpted it. But what we're going to do, we start off here. I had the little dirt bike. You see how thick right here? And there's no reason for this plastic because there's really no dent here, you know? So he did that just for looks. But anyway, this here was cracked, and I had the little dirt bike welded. So when I turn it over, you'll see exactly what he did. But you know, we'll fix that. We'll do that body work there, and then there are certain places like right here. There's a little bubble, so I'm gonna have to cut that out. And then up here, there's a slight dent right here and a crack, so I'll have to fix that. Like I say, it would be easier to just replace the fender, but you know, this is what I have. And right here, this fender was hit at one time right here. You'll be able to see from the back, but this is actually the only spot that was hit. So I'm going to fix these bubbles. I'll cut that out. And then when he was doing the body work here, he sort of lost the body line. You know, here it's there, but it's not looking the way it should. So I'm gonna fix that body line there. And let's see if we can move this over here. Yeah, this fender's got to be the heaviest fender I've ever lifted in my life, because it must have 2-3 cans of body putty on it. But anyway, and even down here, this is the bottom corner. This is where the grill goes, and he did all body work here, and I don't know why. I guess, like I say, just to to make it look different than everybody else's. But on this bottom half of the fender, this fender actually goes straight like that, and he added he actually put fiberglass down here and added it and shaped it, and then he actually attached it to the front stone guard. And so I'm gonna have to cut all this off. I'm gonna have to cut this off and cut this off and make it look like it's supposed to before. So let's flip it over. I don't see any other spots that I might have to do. But like I say, it's worth saving a fender. If I found another one cheap, I would pick it up. But let's turn this over. I'm gonna turn it off for a second. All right, here's the corner of that fender. And like I said, I had a little dirt bike welded. This was all separated. This is the main support for the back of the fender. And it was just, this here was, there's supposed to be a couple of rivets or spot welds here, and they were broke. So this whole piece was just floating in a breeze. So he welded that up solid for me. And around here, I got to grind this one little lump down. But other than that, you know, it's solid as can be. And what's strange about this fender, a lot of fenders, they rot out. You know, this is just surface rust here. But this thing is solid as can be. There's no rot per se, you know, and that's where it would be. And it is a little wrinkled here, you know, not wrinkled, but this was hit down here or pushed in. And this is all factory paint, you know. So this fender was actually in pretty good shape. But let's come around the front here, and I'll show you what the guy did. Right, this is the front fender, and that's what I was showing you. He added this on here. This is all fiberglass. That's almost a ½ inch thick at some spots, you know. But he did that to customize it and make it the way he wanted it to look. But right here, you know, you got rust, and the rust is getting behind it. So I'm gonna have to cut that off. And up here, I'll tell you what he did up here. This is where the grill fits, and he did bodywork up here so that the grill wouldn't have hardly any space, you know, not like a factory space, so it would practically fit perfect. So I'm gonna have to take this off and redo that. But other than that, like I say, this fender's solid, you know, and the dude just customized it, went crazy. So I got my hands full with this, but we'll make it right. So let's go out and we'll take a look at the truck, and I'll show you what I've been doing to that. Alright, yeah, let me show you what we've been doing out here. Let's see if we get your thumbnail there. There we go. Thumbnails seem to get more views. You know what? Let's go around here, see if we get, we'll show you what the whole thing looks like. Show you how much work we're doing to this thing. Get the whole front taken off. I still got to take the other fender off. But one fender at a time, right? So there you go. Alright, let me go around the other side. Alright, this is what we got to work on now before we put the fender on. We have some rot down here, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's solid. See all this? It looks bad, but this is all solid. I'm gonna crawl in there, even down here. You know, solid. So that's not gonna be tough. I have to make a piece of metal to go under there. I'll probably piece it. I'll probably put a round piece down here, and then coming in from the side. But I pushed my fingers through that and pulled the piece down, and I was digging out dirt, and I kept digging out dirt as far up as I can go, which is about 5 inches. And it was actually dirt like you would dig out of your garden, take a shovel out of the garden. And let me show you what's going on here. You know, you got these grates up here, which isn't so great. And over the years, you get leaves and dirt and dust, and who knows, this might have been parked under a tree or something, but it all goes down here, and then comes down here and sits down here. And they did design, there is a hole, a vent hole there about the size of maybe a quarter or 2 dimes or something, side by side. And like I said, I took it had been a gallon. It would fill a gallon jug of dirt, and then there was leaves on top of that and everything, and I thought I was done. And then I opened this inspection hole, and probably can't see nothing, but there was still more stuff in there, more leaves. So I got a piece of metal and stuck it down there and poked it and jammed it all through there, and more came out. So let me see if I can get on my back, and I'll show you what that. All right, I'm gonna turn these off for a second until I get on my back. But anyway, up here, I'm gonna have to wire wheel this, and this was all seam sealer. So I'm gonna have to get that down to metal and clean that up and then seal that. But this is all solid truck. All right, let's get on my back. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have some work to do on this cross member down here. That's where the cab mount is, but that's all solid too. I'm not gonna touch that until after I finish the bodywork and stuff, and then we'll put it up on a lift and do that at little dirt bikes. And then even then, you know, I just got a little bit right here, put a little piece. But anyway, right here, you can see the big gaping hole. It's not, it looks big, but compared to my hand, it's not. So I'll just come around here, and this is all solid and stuff. But here's the hole I was telling you about, you know? You can stick my finger in it. It was designed, you know, for water flow and everything to come out, but once that got jammed, you know, forget about it, you know? So, I think we might work on that. This here, I don't even think I have to put a piece of metal. I think maybe I'm just going to take a thick welding rod and put it there, and then just gap that all the way down to here, and then cut this off, and then put a piece, you know. It's going to take a little shaping, but not much. And then the side here I can just tack on. Okay. Alright, let's work on that. I might be working on it and not filming it, and then just show you before and after and stuff like that, because I'm running behind schedule, and when you videotape something, it takes about 5-10 times as long. So I'll get back to you when I get something done. Alright, let me show you what I've been doing here. We're starting to lose daylight. See the sun there going down over the mountain. Where, you know, there's a lot of cutting and fitting, walking in the garage, sanding and cutting, and the hardest part of the whole job was getting up and down. You older guys don't know that. You know what I'm talking about. Alright, this was the easy piece to cut, and I just have to cut this out, and that'll fit right in there, right where we want it to. Now this piece here, there's a lot of bending, a lot of shape to this, a lot of cutting in here and notching, but I got it pretty good. You know what? I made a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, it was an intentional mistake. This is 16 gauge, you know, and the steel on the truck is 18 gauge, so I figured, well, I got the 16, make it a little thicker. But you hear that? This thing don't bend. You gotta wrestle with it. So I got it fitting good. I got it fitting like a glove. That's gonna go right up in there, and it's gonna fit tight all the way around. And I'm gonna leave the excess on here and cut notches in it and bend it up, and then weld the notches or the cuts that I make. You know, that'll save me a lot of trouble. And I am gonna have to cut out that rot though. But I think that's the easiest way to do it. So you know what I should do? I should make a template of this, a cardboard template, because chances are I got to do it on the other side. But it's all going to be in reverse. Oh well. We'll figure it out, right? Alright, let's see what else we got to do. Alright, here's a shot of it from the bottom. You know, there are tiny little holes that I'm going to patch, but for the most part, it fits pretty good. Alright, let me get out from under here. It's going to take me a couple minutes. Alright, yeah, this video is getting a little long, so we'll try and wrap it up here. Alright, I had, before it got dark out there, I wanted to grind off some of these bad spots, because, you know, today was like 62 degrees or something like that, which is nice outside, but we got a Alberta clipper coming in next week, and it's the highs are going to be, you know, like 25, 27 or so. So I can get this all ready so I can do the body work inside the shop here. But anyway, you know, I ground down. Here's where that's where it was bubbling. And if you look at it, like right here, you can see it must have had some tiny pinholes or something, and it actually came through from the back. That's all it takes, just a pinhole. So I'll fix that. I'm not gonna weld that up. What I'm gonna do is I'll probably use it's called Dynaglass. You know, it's like a fiberglass mix, and it's waterproof. So I'll put that down here, and then I'll actually put some on the back so it'll keep it from coming through again. Same with here. I don't know if you can see this right here, but right there, little air bubble. That's all it takes. And even here, I'll use that Dynaglass here and cover the weld. You know, usually if you cover the weld and make them waterproof, because even though right now that's a perfect weld and it looks like it's all welded up 100%, there could be a tiny, even a microscopic pinhole you can't see, and that'll start the rusting all over again. And that's what we had here. You know, the more I look at this truck, the more I realize what the guy did. And even on the edge here, it's just shy of a 1/4 inch. So what he did, you know, when they make custom trucks, and this was probably a show truck at one time, or close to a show truck, and they put body putty on the whole thing, and then block it out so that all the doors and fenders and everything is perfectly matched. And that's what was done with this thing. I took off this little fiberglass additive he had here, and if you look at it, you know, that's more than a 1/4 inch, probably just under a half maybe. But anyway, the more I look at it, the more I realize I could take that right up to this body line here and just put a real thin coat and make it smooth. I didn't address the front here yet, but I did check out the top, and let me flip this over and show you what's going on up there. Alright, I sort of got you guys propped up here, so we'll do the best we can. Alright, up here, you can see right here, that looks like, you see it's not the same color as regular putty, it's sort of grayish and stuff, so that there is probably something similar to what I'm going to use, Dynaglass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this section out and put a piece of metal in there, and then put a thin coat of Dynaglass on top of it. But you know, you can't criticize the guy, because, you know, I don't know how long this lasted, but I'm assuming this, you know, from the looks of all the stuff I see, I think this body work and paint was done, you know, over 20, maybe 30 years ago. So it did its job, and you know, like I say, that the work on it is pretty good. It impressed me. So that's where we're at right now. So I guess we'll say enough of this, because like I say, this video is getting pretty long. But I mean, I like the side here, I pretty much gotta do what he did, you know, and come out, you know, almost a 1/4 inch with the body putty there to match the door. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, that's what we're dealing with. We got us a show truck. Alright, yeah, before I cut you loose, I figured I'd add another minute to it and show you this piece here that I cut off. This would have been down here, just about like that. There we go. That's about how much I cut off. It's crazy. But it was done right. The guy did everything right. So can't fault him for that. Here's that Dynaglass I was saying. See, it's waterproof and stuff like that. So it's better than just putting putty on there. Alright, let's get out of here. See you in the next one.